हेलो डियर स्टूडेंट्स एंड वेलकम बैक टू इंग्लिश विद प्रोफेसर तबस्सुम। आज की हमारी वीडियो में हम डिस्कस करेंगे ऑल द क्वेश्चन एंड आंसर्स फॉर द शॉर्ट स्टोरी एंड इंटरव्यू। क्वेश्चन नंबर 1, द नरेटर थॉट दैट हिज इंटरव्यू was superfluous. Why? Richard Gordon is a prolific writer. He was so passionate about writing that he gave up his medical profession to write full time. The present story and interview is autobiographical. It exposes the flaws in admission interviews. The narrator seeks admission in St. Swithin's medical school. He attends the interview. He is nervous. A very old man asks him 2 or 3 questions about his ability to pay fee. He says that he is the secretary. Later, the dean asks some questions about games. The dean announces that he is admitted. The narrator understands that whoever the secretary likes gets admission, so he thinks this interview is superfluous. So, this is our first answer. Question number 2. The dean began to look interested. What was he interested in? Why? Richard Gordon is a prolific writer. He was so passionate about writing that he gave up his medical profession to write full time. The present story and interview is autobiographical. It exposes the flaws in admission interviews. The narrator attends the interview for admission into St. Swithin's Medical School. The dean asks him about his interest in football. The narrator replies that he plays rugby. That arouses the dean's interest. The reason is that the school has many forward players. Wing three-quarter players are in demand. The dean's interest is to see for such players. And the narrator meets his requirement. So this is our second answer. Question number 3. Why do you think the old man visited the waiting room? Richard Gordon is a prolific writer. He was so passionate about writing that he gave up his medical profession to write full time. The present story and interview is autobiographical. It exposes the flaws in admission interviews. The narrator waits for his interview with the dean for admission into Swithin's Medical School. Then, a very old man meets the narrator in the waiting room. He says that he is the secretary of that school. He examines the narrator critically. He asks a few questions about the narrator's ability to pay the fees. The narrator later learns that whoever the secretary likes gets admission there. So the secretary visits there. So this is our third answer. Question number 4. His face suddenly lightened. Do you think the dean was really happy with the narrator? Why? Richard Gordon is a prolific writer. He was so passionate about writing that he gave up his medical profession to write full time. The present story and interview is autobiographical. It exposes the flaws in admission interviews. The dean interviews the narrator for admission into St. Swithin's Medical School. He asks the narrator about his position in rugby football game. The narrator says he plays wings three-quarter. Players in that position are in good demand in that school. That seems to be the only reason for the dean being happy with the narrator. Admissions are anyhow decided by the secretary. The dean has no role in that matter. So this is our fourth answer.